Anyone? I can just sit here and drink my tea. Or we can wait for Carli. I'll just bang my tooth. Right, I tell you what, who does anyone actually right now want to go live? Because it doesn't seem that anyone is picking up. Wait, who's that? Oh, Carli, Lloyd. Okay, look, you lot. You had your chance. You have to gonna go live later because I'm introing Carli. She's coming in. She's coming in. Whoop, whoop. Here she
What's up?
is, everyone. Carli, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. Did you just see my show and tell?
I did. I was watching. Yeah.
I had to
What a
bring it out.
fantastic show you host.
I've created a den and everything while we're all in lockdown. Look, can you see my Scottie Talks mug?
How'd you get that whipped up so quickly?
Online. It's still got deliveries.
Wow.
I'm thinking, like anything, Carli, if you're going to do it, you've got to give it your all.
Exactly.
So I've created the den, got my mug, and then obviously got you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
Just the amount of questions that have come in today. Wait, actually, my show and tell, because that's the thing for me, winning that bronze medal, like I was saying, it changed everything in England for women's football to push us on, move us forward. But Carli, it wasn't a gold. And you know, you've got that winning mentality, that drive to always be the best. But what have you got? What's your show and tell for us?
My show and tell. I'm trying to think what I have around here in my room. I could show you. I've got some of my balls. So basically, I have all World Cup
balls.
First goal. Got some Eagles helmets in there. Yeah, so I guess that's my show and tell, and the little foosball table here.
At least you can still play some ball while you're in lockdown. How is lockdown?
Try.
What's been going on?
It hasn't been too bad. I know other countries are a lot more on lockdown than we are, but New Jersey, we're actually the second highest state with the amount of cases and the amount of deaths. Unfortunately, New York is in first place, which is something you don't want to be at the top of the leaderboard in. But we have a stay-at-home in effect. Obviously, just essential workers are working. Go to the grocery store when needed. Luckily, I've got a facility that I'm able to work out in with myself, so I'm okay. It could be a lot worse, and just trying to make the most of it.
So then, what are your days kind of looking at? Are you training in the mornings or afternoons?
Whenever, really. I just kind of wake up and don't set an alarm. Just been enjoying myself. Spending time at home with the hubby and cooking, and
I bet he's loving having you. He doesn't. You're
yeah, it's great.
And everywhere.
I know. In a blink of an eye, I'm here and then I'm gone. So this is not normal for us. But it's in light of all of this, what's going on, and I know that there's a lot of people struggling and losing jobs and their lives, and there's really, really sad things going on in the world. But for me, I'm trying to make the most of it. And as a former footballer, that we never get this much time to just do nothing.
Ever from when I started playing football from the age of 8, even retiring and going into TV, I've never had a moment just to sit and be like, okay, what am I doing? Like, not have a schedule.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's almost like for love of the game again, because I get to just wake up and focus on, running and training and then that's it. I have nothing else to worry about, nothing else planned, not hopping on a plane, not going to an appearance. So it's been really nice. I'm kind of soaking up, the time that I have here to be able to do this.
And you back on your own training schedule now? Because then obviously everything was building up to the Olympics for you guys. And then so as the US team, just like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. Are you just focusing on your own training now?
Pretty much, yeah. We, a lot of things obviously are thrown into, a whole range of rescheduling. And our NWSL season was supposed to kick off, I believe, in a couple of weekends, which isn't going to happen. Yes, Sky Blue FC. I'm a part of. I was really looking forward to kind of kicking off the season because we've got a really good squad in place and great facilities. So hopefully soon enough, we'll get back to normal. So yeah, that's on hold. The national team stuff's on hold, and now Olympics, there's no competition this summer, so we have a whole nother year of preparation.
Mhm.
And speaking with a couple of my teammates, I know that there's disappointment in the fact that everybody wanted to compete this summer,
Yeah.
and you're kind of in that mode to get ready for it. But as we know, life kind of throws some things our way, and really can't control what's going on right now. And I think
Yeah.
it's in the best interest of everybody around the globe to postpone them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just individually getting better and getting more and more fit. I never have this much time to kind of have a little bit of an extended off season, so I'm really taking advantage of it.
You know what? I want to, because even when I had like Lucy on last week and some of the other girls, and a lot of the things is how do you come back from injury and everything. And I'm always so real with people. And then so having you on the show, I actually want to do it backwards because normally I'm like, let's take it back first and start from the beginning. But what I find interesting is some of the stuff that I was reading today, especially like quotes from you, is talking about the last 3 years of your career, because I think there's some real lessons for everyone tuning in. Because I think when we talk about role models and we see kind of people on posters, there's this perception around that everything's great. That the way up, like, but it's a roller coaster of emotions and everything that you have to go through. And me reading a quote today about how you say in the last 3 years of your career has been some of the hardest, I was actually like, wow, because obviously I know in the last World Cup, you had a different role. But how hard was that for you emotionally?
It was extremely hard. And, I think there's people out there that, wanted to bash me for being open and honest, but that's what people don't see. People don't understand that there's a lot of things that are sometimes out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
I had, a coaching staff in place who didn't value me, who wanted to use the age as an excuse and didn't give me a fair shot. I really had no opportunity to earn a starting spot from 2016 all the way up until 2019. So it was hard to wake up every single day and be the best that I can and put in the effort, knowing that nothing was going to change, no matter if I was scoring 6 goals a game or if I was doing incredibly well in training. And it was really hard. I found myself in times like in tears after training sessions, and I had to be very strong. I had to show up every day at practice, give my ultimate effort, be a good teammate, be respectful. But that gets hard, as each year goes on, and I knew that there was still a lot left in me that I could help the team, and it wasn't, this knock against any one of my teammates or, saying that I'm better than any one of my teammates. It was simply me believing that, for the last 3 years, I've been at the top of my game, and I've been one of the best and most hardest working players at training every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But all I could control was that. I couldn't control what the coach was thinking, what the coach was doing. The only thing I could control was whether I got 10 minutes or whether I got 90 minutes or whether I got 50 minutes. I just had to give it everything I had. So winning another World Cup with my teammates in 2019 was amazing,
Yeah.
but it was some of the toughest times as well. And I was able to persevere and able to get through it. And here we are with a new coach who really values me, respects me, and holds every single player accountable, no matter who you are. So
Yeah.
it's really good. It taught me a lot of lessons throughout that, to live in the present moment,
Mm-hmm.
not take any day for granted, and just focus one day at a time. But it was the hardest few years of my career for sure.
And in that, is that where you learn about your teammates as well? Because those people that are seeing you going through that are helping you, or is it just your own mental toughness getting you through those times?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, it's my support system back home. It's, my coach, mentor James, my husband, my friends, my family, and my teammates. My teammates, it was a it was a tough cycle. I think everybody was very tunnel vision because they had to focus on their performance and playing well and all of that, like we always do. But it was nice to know that my teammates had my back, and they knew what I could do, and they knew the value that I brought. So they oftentimes didn't really have to say much. A look, a smile, a high five. And it was really amazing to see, because I do consider myself, one of the most mentally tough players, and being able to get through things. But it's also nice to know when you're going through a really tough time that there are people there that are supporting you. So,
Yeah.
it all has a way of working out. I'm just thankful that I'm still playing, still have a lot left to give, and now hopefully an extended year into my career, and we'll see what happens.
I think this, because this is the side as well, I suppose, for everyone tuning in, thank you for tuning in, that doesn't get spoken a lot about, and it's so hard. I remember, because the same thing with me in 2015, so that was what, my third World Cup. Every World Cup I'd been this starting player for England as the right back. I go into that World Cup as a starter, but then obviously Lucy Bronze comes in for a game and has a stormer. And then so she is then the right back for England. And I spend the rest of that World Cup as, I would say, a supporting player. And then so it's like my whole career, I've been a main starting player. How quickly my brain had to adjust. And like you said, it's like, obviously I don't think I'm like trying to say she shouldn't be playing, but I'm then having to support, but wanting to be playing at the same time. And that World Cup taught me so many lessons about what kind of teammate I was, actually, my mental toughness, terms of my leadership as well, and then what I got out of it. But the next 2 years, I was then a support player. And then I got to the Euros, and I knew that was my last tournament, because mentally I couldn't do that anymore. It's like I spent the last 2 years of my career supporting my team, helping the youngsters come through. And I was like, that's me done now. Like that decision to step away. But it's so hard. I think that doesn't really get spoke a lot about, or how players can handle it and get through those times.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think in defeat, whether it's team defeat, whether it's individual, it really tells a lot about a person. So in your situation, the way that you handle it, people are going to remember that. If you were a jerk and a terrible teammate and not being friendly with Lucy, I mean, people would remember that. And for me, if I wasn't happy, if I wasn't supportive, if I didn't go out and give it my all every single day at training session, people would remember that. So I think through this, people gain a lot more respect seeing somebody handle a really tough situation with class. And that's all you really can do. In the end, it goes a long way.
And then because then obviously Jill, that was her last World Cup, and then you have a new manager come in. Do you straight away have an open and honest conversation with him about where do you stand in the team?
No, I've actually been asked that a lot because I was very vocal in the way that I felt about the last 3 years into the World Cup. I felt like I didn't have a fair shot of earning a starting spot. And I just wanted another coach, or the next coach, to come in who was just going to give me a fair opportunity. Not basing things off my age, not basing things off of any preconceived, notions of who I am as a person and a player. Simply just rewarding me if I deserve to play and if I'm doing well and performing well. That's it. So when Blacko came in, he did individual meetings with everybody. We had, a camp first camp with him. It was the end of our year. So it was a little bit of a bizarre thing for him to come in and start coaching us. And we're just getting on the tail end of the year and the victory tour, and closing out a long year. But it was really refreshing because he just sat down and everything was normal. It wasn't this talk of, okay, Carli, you're 37, you're going to be 38 at the Olympics. I'm not sure if you can do it. We sat down and we just started talking tactics. And he obviously still saw me in the number 9 role, and he started implementing his style of play and what he likes to see in the number 9. And then, in the off season sent some clips over to just get, he did it with everybody just to share some insight and try to, just go over some things tactically. And that's been it. Every time we've met, it's just tactic talks and, hey, you can probably do this a little bit better or that a little bit better. And that's the way it should be. I think that no matter if you're 37, 38, or you're 16, if you're good enough to play, then age is just a number. So it's been really refreshing to have somebody who, pushes me, holds me as well as the rest of the team accountable, and plays people based on their performance.
Oh, yeah, and we saw you in the She Believes Cup in that number 9 role, finding spaces in the box against England. But how do you feel adjusting playing in that role now?
I've been loving it. To be honest, I've played pretty much every position, in the front 5, front 6 in my career. I started out as a box-to-box midfielder. Had to get myself really fit to be able to do that. It was a piston. So when one went up, the other held. Then I saw myself in more of an attacking midfielder role. And then 2012 Olympics, I actually went in for Shannon Box. I got benched before that. She got injured. And then, people were saying I wasn't good enough to play defensive midfielder. And then I ended up playing defensive mid the entire tournament except for the final. And we ended up winning. So I played that position. I played left mid. I played right mid up into 2015 year, and then I started to move higher up on the pitch. And it's been really stimulating for me because if you play a position your entire career, the same position, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, it's just another stimulating thing that I can put myself into to continue to get better. So. It's been a lot of fun. And the way that Vlatko wants our team to play, the number 9 actually does probably the most running. Yeah. Hunting players down, pressing, and I love that. I love to hunt people down and kind of make them scramble with the ball, win the ball, and just do all that dirty work so that the other players behind me can pick it up. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've just been working on being deadlier in front of the goal and being efficient and making good runs and behind the back line. I'm obviously not the typical number 9 forward that's just, going to blaze through with speed. But I think the game has evolved so much where it's come to a point where you have to be efficient, but you have to be smart too. So I'm able to pop off the pocket. Like against England, I popped off the pocket, was playing through balls to players, getting in behind the back line. So it's a whole mix of things, and I'm loving it and loving it now because I get another whole year to prepare and get better with it.
What has your coach brought into the team? What's the differences?
I think he's done a fantastic job of coming in and not trying to reinvent the wheel. Our team is the best team in the world. We continue to do well. We continue to push on. We continue to be better. We have great depth on the team. We've got a lot of great players. So it's his job to come in and, say, all right, I'm going to put my stamp on things, but I'm not going to, do all these crazy changes and, change personnel right away and do all these different things. So he's done a really good job of managing that. We play, a little bit similar, but I think there's that freedom for players to be able to express themselves. We've got a lot of interchanging of positions now. We've got, players up top who, don't always have to stay wide. They can pop in the pockets. And, if let's just say, for example, if Press is on the field and she kind of pops in the pocket, then, I can float out wide. And there's kind of that fluidity to the way our team is playing. And he's bringing out the best in players. He's injecting confidence in every single player. And he's individually developing players. I think that's probably one of the biggest things is that he's able to make players better, bring out the best of them. And then collectively he's making our team better. So he's just a fantastic person. Just a very good human being, great coach, very detail oriented. We have a lot of tactical meetings, and it's been fun. And then the accountability piece. Doesn't matter who you are. If I'm not doing my part on the field and we watch film, he's going to be sure to call me out on it. which is great, the way it should be. So it's great. Yeah, it's been a lot of
So
fun with him.
as if like you lot didn't even need to get any better. You guys are getting better now as well. Just
We
carry
are,
on
and
climbing.
we're raising the bar, but every other team around the country is pushing us to be better. We
Mhm.
have to be better. I think that the final third, really in the women's game, I think is the most difficult piece to kind of finesse,
Yeah.
and I think that's our next step is the final third. How can we be deadly in so many different areas, in so many different ways? Runs in behind, whipped in crosses, midfielders running through. I mean, there's all these different things, and I think that the women's game, I think we still all need to become better with that,
Mhm.
be a bit more patient. But yeah, we're cruising on, and you guys, the rest of the world is pushing us to be better as well.
But like, what is it that the USA team have that sets you apart? What do you think it is? Because it's not just you're just there maybe a year or two and then drop off. You are consistently, guys, you are always there, the best and winning.
Well, I think it's a mentality. I do think it's a mentality. I think that you kind of saw that in the World Cup and previous tournaments. I think a team like France, for example, and I've spoken to some of the French players as well. They're unbelievable. I mean, they have great players. They have a great understanding of the game of playing with one another. But in my opinion, I think up here they lack a little bit up here, and I
Mhm.
think it was a lot of pressure in the World Cup, and you're then seeing players maybe make mistakes that they usually don't make in a big event, and yeah, I think that we just have a way of intimidating teams, and I can't say that we've necessarily played unbelievable
Mhm.
against every team we've played, and yes, we've sometimes found a way to win, but I think that's what makes this team so special is that no matter the way the game is going, whether it's not very good or it's good, we find a way and we always create chances, and I
Mhm.
think that's what's really separating us is kind of that mentality piece. Um, we're fit as well, but like I said, the rest of the world is catching up to that,
Mhm.
and we need to become better thinkers, better creators on the field.
I love what you said earlier about accountability as well, because I think that's kind of the biggest lessons when I came over to America that I learned to go along with obviously the hard work, but it's that accountability of when we're doing the fitness at the end. It's not good enough that you can just step out and not complete it. You're going to complete it, but not am I going to do it by myself. My teammates are going to help me through, but you need to be fit. You need to be at
Hmm.
your best, or your teammates are going to call you out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's no question. I look at so many teams around the world, so many talented teams around the world, and I say to myself, if they just got fit and they just didn't touch a ball for a month or two and just
Uh-huh.
ran, they'd be unbelievable. But it's easier said than done. It's a grind. It's going out to the field and by yourself, and you have to find a way.
Mhm.
That's not easy for certain players to go and do that. But I think because our team is so competitive and because we've got so many players who can step in and fill those spots, it keeps everybody on the edge of their seat,
Mhm.
and that's what we've always kind of had throughout the history of this team. So it's a grind and it's tough, but
So that's
secret.
interesting as well because I suppose people see, like you, like name the best player in the world twice at the Ballon d'Or and everything. But if we do take it back in terms of when you first met James, like how he said, he was like he saw a winner there, but not necessarily someone who was fit enough to go with that talent.
No,
Talk us back to those early years where
I
you thought,
thought,
okay, like why am I not getting picked?
yeah. Well, I thought that, I was the cream of the crop, the best of the best. And I walked around with the swagger, maybe still do. It's just kind of my James calls it the Lloyd shuffle. Um, but I was a really talented kid. I was a street baller. I grew up, playing in the park with boys and kicking the ball around in my house and just doing things that made me special. But that can only get you so far. And I actually thought that I had some sort of problem, like with running and fitness testing.
Mhm.
Every time I had to do a fitness test, I would freak out before. And when I got on the national team, we always had to do beep test, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, man, there's something wrong with me. Like I got to see somebody about this. And the whole time James is kind of chuckling on his own because he's like, this girl is just not fit, you
Mhm.
know. Um, because I didn't know how. I didn't run. I didn't embrace hard work every single day, showing up to training and giving it my all. Some games I would give 100%, and then, the next game I would be completely sloppy and completely terrible because I will group that I can, body weight exercises, the running, the hills, the sprints, just all
Would
of
you
that.
say you've
And
found a way? Because that's really interesting how you just said that some people frowned upon it, but it's like you've kind of known and learnt what works for you. So did you have to have those conversations and were like, no, I will do this, but
for me, I've stayed injury free because of it. I've become more and more explosive. The older I've gotten, the more and more fit, and I've just kind of kept that up. So yeah, it's something that's works for me. And I think the biggest thing is the consistency piece. I think people want to be good, people want to be great, but you've got to consistently do these things. You've got to consistently recover. You've got to consistently eat well, sleep well, drink water, stretch, and work out and run. And I've just done every category. I've just been consistent with everything.
Mhm. You've had so many highlights through your career, but what is your main one? What was you like? That's the moment for me that it was just so special. I will never